Good morning, Tom. It's afternoon.
It's afternoon, but it depending on where you are in the world, right?
Yeah, depending upon. I feel like I'm in tomorrow already, based upon the way things have been going for me today. But we're going to cover something fun. We're going to cover the Royal Ascot every day this week. We're supposed to start at 2:00. Going forward, we will start at 2:00. Just getting caught behind a little bit with Terry made it a little bit difficult for me to get caught up with Tom and I, because we're going to do things a little bit differently than we normally do today. And that we're going to go through each race, which is normally what we do, but we're going to set it up a little bit differently. I'm going to set up the pace. Tom's going to take us through her picks. I might mention which one I like, but I'll have all my picks over on the horseracingtoday.net website. That way we can get through this 7 races without taking all day. What do you think, Tom?
We're going to certainly try.
So tell us a little bit about the importance of Royal Ascot, Thomas.
Well, they've been having this for a few hundred years, of course. But the biggest thing really is that this is probably one of the top, if not the top meeting in England at for the horses and for all the pageantry and pomp and everything else that the English do very well. This is you dress up for these days, as many courses in the world, some of the courses in the world, unlike us who come in t-shirts and whatever. And it's kind of, I've never been there. I do want to go. And there's just about everything. They start out with the royal procession at 2, and at 2:30 they start racing. And in the past it was 6 races, but they've now extended it to 7 races. So
if it were 6, I would have been done on time.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah. Well,
cause and effect, my friend. When a butterfly flaps its wing,
definitely it's some of the best horses in the world, and internationally there are horses that have come in. So it's a nice mixture of all kinds of fun, and with the exception of one race so far, which is a 5-horse field, everything else is pretty packed.
Well, the horse scratch? Because I don't have a 5-horse field anywhere.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I have a 7-horse field.
Yeah, that's and Spaid's in it. Well, that makes sense.
Maybe there were some scratches I just didn't catch, but in any case,
no. We're good so far. We haven't any scratch. We'll find scratches out later today. I mean tomorrow.
All right.
Or for us tomorrow, of course.
And how would you describe the shape of Ascot's race course? A triangle? Is that it?
Well, you don't have the right one up because you need the straightaway.
It's not the right one. All right.
Nah, this one is not going to work so well.
All right. Well, let's try to find the right one. What is the right one? Like?
Well, the reason I say you need that straightaway is because it's a very unique track in that terms of that it goes up about 65 feet versus most courses that are straight don't. So all our races from 5 furlongs to mile are going to be on the straight.
I see. So I missed the straight part. Okay, I cut a piece out, right?
Yeah, we kind of need that because a bunch of our races are unfortunately going to be that. The rest of them, they head around the turn, they go down, they go around, and then they come into the stretch.
So it looks a little more like a tape measure.
Yeah, there you go. The most, with exception of one race, all the mile races will be straightaways. There is one heritage that is run through that chute.
Okay, it starts up here and then comes.
Yeah, well, but in none of the races initially. So when we do our longer races, we're going to start at the start finish and go uphill and go downhill and go around, and it can be an adventure, but it'll be interesting to see how the group out into these bigger field races, because as we've seen in the past, we're going to find out where the best running is. And since we have a few days to figure it out, we may get some idea. And supposedly for the next 10 days there's no rain forecasted.
Yes, the track is listed as good to firm.
I don't expect to see anything like we did last year. We went from good to firm to
bog running.
Yeah.
So race number 1, It's the Queen Anne Stakes, grade 1 for 810 grand. Not a small chunk of change there. It's 1 mile on the turf. So if we go back to where we needed this chart to 1 mile, they're going to start here. They're going to run backwards over to the round stop sign. They do everything a little bit differently over there.
We don't have really any straightaway courses in this country. When you think about it, there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing that compares to these, and a lot of the racing is done this way. So over there, so it does make it very unique, and I think a very big challenge for us because we're just not used to it.
No. Well, let's take a look at what we are used to, and I put together the pace setup for every one of these races. According to the way I look at that, never mind how the computer looks at it or how Tom looks at it. This is how I look at it. And according to the way I have it set up right here, it looks to me like the 5 horse in this spot, and that is Real World, has a early pace advantage over the rest of the field. Most of the others like the pressure or close. But Real World, at this 1 mile on turf, is one that I expect has a good shot to get to the lead. And then, but will it be enough to beat Baid, Thomas?
No.
Just no.
The number undefeated, 7 wins. They've taken their time developing this horse,
and that's the 2 horse Baid.
That's number 2, yeah. And we're going to draw as number 4. And there's not a lot to say more. Last race he stalked him, then blew right past him. Everybody else looked like pretty ordinary horses, while this horse went to the wire. And he's definitely rated as the number 1 top turf horse in the world. And until somebody beats him, I'm going to say he's going to retain that title for a while. My line was, it would be interesting to see him in Flight Line on in a race, but of course, one dirt and one turf, but you never know.
Well, maybe they can run on one of those tracks where there's turf on the inside and dirt on the outside, and just kind of do the math to start them at what would be a fair starting spot.
So definitely, I think this will be the shortest price of the week.
1 to 6 right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to see 1 to 10, but we'll see. Number 6, Sir Brusquer is my next choice. He raced against Baid last time at Newbury, and the way they put it was he was never on terms. He raced near the rear. He was pushed. He got up. He got going, but not enough. The race I use as that I prefer is the one he did run at Ascot race before, which was in the Queen Anne Prep. There's only 4 horses in the field. He finished second, and really he ran a nice race in that race. And that said to me that one of the things, and in the past, he likes these Ascot straight course. So because he was in Dubai, had 3 races in Dubai, long odds, did absolutely nothing. He needed to come back here and run better. He's run better races, and even in defeat to Baid, well, there was a lot of horses behind him. So
all of them have finished behind him so far.
Yeah, and they've been in the all the way through. My other choice is number 1, Accidental Agent. You should be getting a good price on this one. He's been really out of form last season, and then all of a sudden he's decided to start running again. And he had 2 races. One is in a handicap, and that was at Newmarket. He ran a nice race there. He won that one, and then the last out he was second in another handicap at Ascot at 22 to 1. He is the winner of this race in 2018, so it's been a couple years. It's interesting. He's raced 24 times at a mile, and he's only won twice. And one of them is at Royal Ascot. So very interesting. I mean, he looks like he's in form. It looks like he's back to maybe his old self. I mean, he is 8. But throw him in there for the money. This is, the next nearest horse to Baid is what, going to be 7 to 1?
Something like that. Yeah. That's Real World.
Why not throw one of the long ones in there? Because I think if Baid runs his race, he's out by 5 or 6 in the end. It'll be all the ones fighting for final two positions to see where they come in
for that placement.
And again, it'll be fun to watch. It's a nice way to start the day, that's for sure. To get to see the top horse in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, this race, just so I forgot to note at the top, starts at 12:30 Eastern time. So it'll be 11:30 Central, and then of course it'll be 9:30.
No, that wouldn't be right.
Well, that's what it says in the program.
It'll be 9:30.
It says
Eastern.
post time 12:30.
8:30 here.
Well, 12. It says 12:30.
6 hours difference.
All right. Well, I don't know.
They start at 2:30.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brisnet has the time wrong then. So
the time is incorrect on Brisnet.
Well, it looks okay. Never mind. 9:30. It's going to start at Eastern time. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah,
I don't know what time they have in here. They had the Eastern all the way off to the right-hand side. So 9:30 Eastern. Forgive me. I got that one wrong. So I apologize.
Well, for people out there who are listening, your betting options should be plenty because of this type of meat that it is, and everybody should be offering it. I would be very surprised if they don't. Mm-hmm. So get on there and take a look. There's lots of information out there to help you make your selections. And you may need a little help in some of these races because as we move along, they get a little more competitive.
Yeah, there's a lot more horses. I'll link to some free resources over at horseracingtoday.net that are available on the internet for folks to kind of what is available in terms of past performances. Race 2 is 6 furlongs. It's the Coventry Stakes, grade 2 for a couple of $100,000. This one is for 2-year-olds. And if we go back to the track at 6 furlongs, they're going to start here. They're going to run straight uphill and then downhill and then level to the finish line. Again, looking at what this race shape looks like, as you can imagine, in a 6 furlong race, it's a lot more early pace than we would see in a longer race in 1 mile. And here you can see we have a ton of horses that want to get to the front. In fact, most of them want to be either in the front, pressuring the leaders, or can pressure or lead. That leads me to believe the 10 or the 8, those closing types that can pressure as well with the 10, might be horses at prices that you could think about. Just rewinding real quickly back to the first race, Tom, I had them in order of 2, 7, and 5. And then race number 2, again, we have some, let's take a look at the horses that are in this race, Tom, and you can tell us which of these, what is it, like 18 horses in this field?
17.
17 horses in this field?
Yeah.
Which of the 17 you think will bring it home?
I think number 3, Brad Sells, is going to be my top. Just draw 2. First out winner at York by 9 lengths. And he was the favorite, and that was a 6 furlong race. He went well. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. With 2 furlongs left, he quickened, he got clear, and just kept going. And it's always hard to gauge 2-year-olds, but that looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. And so I went back and I wanted to look at what his sire and dam looked like, and the sire won at 2, 3, and 4-year-old, and he won at distances of 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs. So he was definitely a sprinter. And the dam, same deal. And she only won her races as a 2-year-old. She was not very successful past that. And the other foal that this dam has thrown is a 6 furlong winner. So definitely a sprinter. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Black Bread is my next choice. Has draw 14. He's won his first 3 races. He started out on the all-weather at Dundalk, and then he went to the Curragh, and then he won a 6 furlong Group 3 race. I think the 5 furlong race was more of a test for him than the 6 furlong race. And he stalked the leaders. He was a front runner last time out, and then the other 2 races he stalked the leaders. And I think he needed a little bit of a tightener, because I think the 6 furlong race is a little easier than that 5 furlong race was. Again, on the breeding, top sprinter is his sire, and he's produced more than a few top springers. And the dam only won 1 race. It was a 7 furlong race, and this is her first fold, so we don't have a lot to go on beyond that. Mm-hmm. Finally, I took a little bit of a price in number 9, Paddy's Day, which also has draw 9. Won at Windsor the first time out on a novice race. An interesting race, though, because it ducked right at the start, then went wire to wire. So it had some problems, unusual. And then went right to the lead, and it was gone. And the other thing I thought was interesting is when I looked at the times of these races at 6, where the horses have run at 6, and this horse ran one of the fastest times. So I thought that was really quite interesting. Again, looking at the sire, he won in Australia and also in Great Britain, and he won between 6 furlongs and a mile. The dam won once, and she hasn't won. Other of her foals has won out of 3. 2 of them have not been very good, obviously. But so a little bit of a price on this one, but that time kind of jumps out at me. And
I'm going to go with the 10 horse. As I mentioned, you got a lot of speed. I think one might be able to come from off the pace in this scenario. So I'm going to go with the 10, and then I'm going to go with your 2, Blackbeard, and then bring it back down to number 11, Remarkable Force. Those are the 3 that I'm going to go with. I'll have my full rankings over at horseracingtoday.net when we go ahead and publish this in just a little while after we end the show. So race number 3, Tom, that last race, by the way, I should probably start with this. It's going to start at 10:05 Eastern. Race number 3 is a 5 furlong race. It's going to start at 10:40 Eastern. So race number 3, Tom, is, hold on a second, I'm going to mark something down real quick. It is 17:11 on the clock. And then race number 3 is, let's pull this up, is 5 furlongs. It is the King Stand Stakes. It's a grade 1, $675,000 in the purse money there. Again, let's take a look at this one. Looks like a big, well, it looks a little bit like a middle finger, right? But this is what the pace looks like. In this race, you have a little bit of horses that, only the 4 horse that I could see that absolutely wants to lead. You have a bunch that don't mind being in the middle. I mean, a bunch that don't mind being in the middle. And then just a couple of, 4 or so that like to be more towards the back. So this is another one that could end up having a lot of early pace to it, which could set up nicely for a horse that likes to come from a little bit from behind. All right, Tom, what do you think?
And, well, I think that number 17, Munesca, is going to be the winner.
Number 17.
Draw 14.
Munesca, this one?
Yep. Mm-hmm. No wins this season, but has run 2nd, 3rd, and 2nd. And those races have been at 5. Well, 2 of them are at 6 furlongs, and 1 was at 5 furlongs. This horse has never won a race at 6 furlongs. But at 5 furlongs, it's got 10 starts, 3 wins, 4 seconds, and 1/3. So I think you could call this a 5 furlong specialist. Mm-hmm. This one likes to close, and there is a ton of speed in this race, and we know who's going to be out front, which is Golden Pal. He is a Group 2 winner. But I really like his chances here based on the setup of this race. Number 12, Nature's Strip with draw 10 is my next choice. He'll be near the top. He'll be with the second choice probably in the betting.
2-1 right now, yeah.
Yeah, he may be. He was at one point in some of the bookies had him as the top pick. So I thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. He's a shipper from Australia. He won his last race at Randwick and by 3 1/4 lengths in the Group 1. And he beat Eduardo, who's a Group 1 winner, among others. He's got a record that anybody would like. 37 starts, 20 wins, 7 seconds, 1/3. So that equates to over $12 million US that he's won. He won the Everest, which is the richest 6 furlong race in the world. And at 5 furlongs, he has 14 starts and 9 wins. He hasn't been out of the money since October of 2020. So that's quite a record.
That'll work.
And he's not young either. He's 7 years old. and he's really shown very well. They've tried to bring him over for a race here before, and unfortunately things have not worked out. But now he's there. He worked out on the Ascot course. Along with one of his stable mates that Chris Waller brought over, and they said he looked very good. So that looks encouraging. The big thing will be, of course, like with Golden Pal, will be handling that. Is it straightaway versus going around a turn? Finally, I took number 10, Man of Promise. In his last race, he was in Dubai. He ran third to Case of View in a Group 1 there, and this was the big race day. Just as a note, Casa Creed, who won on Saturday, was in this race. And so it was a very quality field. He didn't get the best of draw in this race. And with that, the inside stand side rail was favored, and that's where the Case of View went up and won the race. Man of Promise had to do a little more work, and he got third, but he still had to work much harder in that race. A little more favorable run, I think he's going to be better. You know, he's been done, and it's interesting, the past 2 years, they've left him in Dubai. And, I mean, he's got 3 starts, 2 wins, and a third in 2022. In 2021, he had 1 win and 3 starts. They obviously, you know, prior to that, he was in England, and with a couple, we had 4 wins. He had 4 wins there. I mean, I said that wrong. William Buick's up, and he's won on this horse 4 times. He's got a second and 2 thirds. I just think this is a horse that they've returned for a reason, and you're going to get I think you're going to get a nice price on this horse, and watch out, because this is a Godolphin, and there are going to be people who think this horse has got a chance, and I think 10-1 plus is probably about where it's going to be, but I definitely think you got to put it into your combinations of exactas and whatever.
Well, I'm going to go with Golden Pal and Nature Strip, the 2 horses that get to the front. I think they'll have a decided pace advantage over most of the field that likes to either be behind or chase or come from the back. And then I also agree with you with number 10, a Man of Promise. Got to got that American horse in there, Tom, with Golden Pal. They sent him over there and represent it, as they say.
My concern with Golden Pal is looking at his past races. He went out in the Norfolk a couple years ago. He went out for the lead and got caught. And when he went to York and ran in Northrop, he really didn't run very well. He went out for the lead and I really think he's more of a horse that needs the bend and has an advantage running on the bend or a turn versus running a straightaway. And he doesn't run straightaways except when he comes to England, and he's not won yet. So that's why I said, yeah.
There's always a first time. All right, so race number 4 is a 1 mile turf. It is the St. James Place Stakes. It's a grade 1, as you can see over St. what? Palace.
St. James Palace.
St. James Palace. Yeah, it's a stakes race. It's a grade 1. It starts at 11:20 Eastern time. See over here how the time's a little mixed up. They screwed me up. I thought this was Eastern over here, but it's starting over here at 11:20. Yeah. Thank you, Brisnet. Yeah, you know, a bad craftsman always blames his tools, Thomas, right? So there I am, blaming my tools at a mile on the turf for race number 4. Once again, we'll take a look at what I think the pace setup looks like. And here it looks like it's a pretty symmetrical field, if you ask me, Thomas, because it looks to me like you have a couple of horses that want to be in the front, a group that want to be in the middle, and a group that want to be in the back. So it really shouldn't give any particular horse or group of horses any sort of advantage. So in this sort of setup, I think is when you get what they say, the best horse wins. And who do you think the best horse is going to be in this spot, Tom?
I'm going to take number 2. Angel Blue is my top choice. Let's draw 11. I like the effort behind Perfect Power last out. They ran third. Perfect Power is going to be running a little later in the week. To me, he clearly needed a start because one of the descriptions I read was he was sweating and very keen, and and that race turned out to be a very, very fast race. So I think he got a lot out of it. I mean, in his career, he's won one bad race, and that was at Royal Ascot. He ran 13th. But he came back and ran at Ascot again in another meet and ran second. After that, he won 3 in a row, and including 2 Group 1s. He ran at St. Cloud for his final run of the season in France. I mean, he's a really good horse. He's won twice, second off layoffs. I think he's primed for a good run right here, and I think you're definitely going to get a big price.
Well, I think you're going to get a good price on most horses because there is a prohibitive favorite in here.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we'll get to him because I can't say no to that one.
All right.
Next one is going to be number 9, Manjun, who has draw 8. Undefeated in 3 starts. The last run was in Germany in their version of the 2000 Guineas. And he had a slow start, but he still won the race by a length and a quarter. He won a novice at Doncaster in his first start, then went to a conditioned stakes over in the all-weather at a mile at Kempton. And this would definitely be under the late developing colt category. He's out of a top class sprinter. His dam was unraced, but this is a big step up here. But he's definitely in form, and I think he's got a nice chance to do well. And don't think you're going to get as good as odds because I think he's going to. There's going to be some interest in betting this one, and then I'll take the favorite, the Godolphin horse. Corbus is my final choice. He beat Native Trail last time out in the 2000 Guineas. It was his first start of the season. Yes, he was impressive. All his races have been at a mile. He's got 3 wins and 1 second. He likes the surface they're going to be running on, good to firm. He'll be right with the leaders, but I'm going to try to beat him because I think they're going to push him a bit in this race, and there's enough horses here to do it.
Well, I'm going to try to beat him a little bit too, Tom, but I'm going to beat him with a horse that you already mentioned. I'm going to beat him with the 9 horse, and then I'm going to go, what is that, Malacom, and then Corobus, and then I'm going to go with number 11, My Prospero, as my 3rd choice. So that's,
that was my 4th choice. That was gotten some pretty positive press.
All right, so that's the one I'm picking for 3rd, the one that's getting the positive press. Hopefully we'll get some positive press after we nail every single one of these races perfectly, Thomas.
Especially some long shots.
Yeah, well, so far I've been kind of chalky, but hopefully that'll change as the week goes on. Race number 5 is, hold on, let me write down the time, 28:44, so I can put a link to that in YouTube so you don't have to go Google it, run through it yourself.
And go this way. Yeah, I know.
Yes, go every which way. Race number 5 is 2.5 miles. Again, this one's going to be at noon Eastern time. So 2.5 miles. If we take a look at this thing over here, I don't know. They're going to probably start
in the chute
here and go around twice.
Shoot. Go all the way back out there.
Right here.
See where it says 2-4?
2-4. Oh, right here.
Right, 6-4. Yeah, there you go.
So they're going to come around and then around.
And around, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So up, down, sideways, around, and
we had a 2-mile race at the Belmont Stakes Day, day before actually the Belmont Gold Cup. This is this is a heritage handicap for Class 2 type horses, but we get a mixed bag in here as they always do with these, and these are definitely stayers, and there are also some hurdling horses that do the hurdles along with running on the flats. And I actually picked one of those horses, my top choice.
Well, before we get to that, let's take a look at how the race could shape up.
Oh, I forgot.
That's all right. And we're doing something a little bit out of the ordinary here. You have 4 horses that want to get to the front. There really aren't any that like to get to the front and then can or win from maybe 2nd or 3rd and get to the front. So the front runners are pure front runners. And then everybody else wants to pressure and backwards, Tom. So I know it's 2.5 miles. I know they're going to be running all over the place, up and down, round, sideways, tight turns, every which way you can think of. But I do think that based upon the pace set up here, there is a chance, albeit maybe a small chance, that one of them leads them the entire way or is close to the front from beginning to the end. Is that race ever won like that?
No.
No, man.
not often. But you do have the conditions to think about, which we are good to firm, and somebody gets a dawdling pace, and this is a long race, so they're not going to go 22 for the first quarter.
You mean they're not going to be the Truska?
No.
What was that all about? Anyway.
Well, I took a number 4, Acadia Sunshine Sunrise. I'm sorry, is my first choice. Has draw 4.
Mm-hmm.
First
Arcadia, California, home of Santa Anita.
Yeah, it ran. It first started the season, ran 4th at Chester. Got in some traffic problems, and with about 3 furlongs left to go, it moved up and just didn't finish. And Chester this was a 14-horse field, and if you've seen pictures of Chester, it is a very tight course. And it does require somebody, the outside post, you really got something to overcome if you can win that from there, and they didn't, obviously. It's interesting, his wins have come at over 2 miles, and this is both on hurdles and flats. He's won 4 times over the hurdles, and he's won 2 times over the flats, and he actually had, on the national fences, he's won once too, which is a big taller thing. So without question, distance is not an issue. Luck is an issue, and they are taking weight off him by using Harry Davies, who's one of the top, if not the top apprentice in England right now, and they get a 5-pound allowance, which has got to help. Number 7, Marshall Plan is my next choice, who is draw 15. He's got 3 seconds in a row. He's a 4-year-old, so it's a Gosden, horse. I almost think maybe trying to make this the replacement for Stradivarius when he retires. Never know. He's won 1 race in his career, but overall he's done very well. Now this is his first attempt at 2 miles or over, I should say. And Frankie Dettori is going to ride him. And I think Gosden generally knows what he's got. And Dettori knows how to ride these kind of races. So it should be interesting. My final choice is going to be number 16, Scaramango, who has draw 1.
Can you do the Fandango?
Yeah. Last time out, he was the favorite. He finished last in a 4-horse field. But this was a hurdle race. And it was also a Group 2 race. And the comment I thought was he wasn't fluent. So his stride was not particularly good. First race in 6 months, and they bet him down. And I don't know why they bet him down, especially when he's not that level of horse, being a Group 2 race and a hurdle. He is better over the hurdles. He's got 12 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. But he's finished in the money 6 times out of 11 on the flats with a win. So I'm not looking to win, but I think with the distance of the race and everything else, he should be able to make a nice accounting of himself in this race, and that's why I picked him.
And I'm going to go with number 10. I think some speed might be able to hold up here at 25-1. Tribal Alert. And number 3, Coltrane is going to be my second selection. And then I'm going to bring it home with number 8, Pied Piper, as my third choice. Again, I'll have all my rankings over at horseracingtoday.net a little later on when we post the recap for this show.
And
now we're going to go on.
I think Pied Piper will be the favorite.
You think he'll be the favorite?
Yeah, I think so.
Race number 6, 34.54, 34.54. Terry, you know what I'm talking about right now, don't you? Race number 6 is a 1.25 miles on the turf. It is, let me pull up race number 6. It is the Wolferton Stakes at 1.25 miles. So we go back over here. 1.25 miles looks like they're going to start here and then come up
We
and down.
can't see the visual.
Oh, I can't bring it. Oh, yeah, because I got to press that right button, right, Thomas? Looks like they're going to start here.
Yep.
And then come down and around and back. So almost one full loop of the triangle track there.
Mm-hmm.
And for
they're
race
they're going to go down into Swindling Bottom and then head their way back, home. And they'll go uphill until they get to the finish.
Grueling type racing for sure. Looking at the pace set up for this race, again, it looks like it's pretty balanced. Again, you got a few horses that can get to the front, some that like the pressure, a lot that like to be in the middle, and a couple that want to be in the back of the pack. So looking again at this pace setup, Tom, I don't really see an advantage for any particular running style. Of course, when you have a lot of pressure horses, though, if they all decide to get a little bit crazy, the pace could heat up, which might favor some closers, but we'll find out when we see them race tomorrow. And who do you like in race number 6?
I took number 14, Tasman Bay, with draw 6 as my top choice. He's coming into this race off a layoff, and he won his novice race, and that's about it. But really what's interesting with this horse is that he's run in group races 4 times, and he's run second or third in those group races. So he's been running against some really good company. So I look at this as a class drop a bit for him here, running in a listed race. He's a front runner type, and he does like to hang around for a placing position, but I'd like to see him win this one. He did run at Royal Ascot last year and finished second in a Group 2, so I think he's going to be right there.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Cadillac with draw 3 is my next choice. He was a winner last time out at Leopardstown in a listed race, and the best way to describe it is he traveled strongly and won nicely. He's a Group 2 and 3 winner at distances of from 7 furlongs to 10 furlongs, which I found really interesting. What a variety of weird, races to run, especially that 7 furlong race to win. He did ship to Saratoga and finished 9th. And then after that race, he lost all his form, and now he just seems to be coming back to a winning level after winning the Leopardstown race last out. And a good chance in this at this level. I would be very surprised if he doesn't place. And number 11, Palvacek, is my final choice, and I probably really butchered that one.
That looks like Pallavicino.
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
I got it. Pallavicino. Yeah. There we go. I nailed that one.
He won first out at Lingfield on the all-weather, and frankly, they got too aggressive with this horse. They put him in a Group 1 race at Epsom, and he finished 14th. He finished back in the field. He was 14 lengths behind. He's a long shot here, but he's got a nice record on the flats. He does have 2 wins with 10 starts and 1/3. His record is much better on the all-weather, without question. 16 starts, 5 wins, 3 seconds, and 2/3. He generally front runs, and he's probably the lowest rated horse in this field, but 66-1 with Jamie Spencer up. I'm going to take my shot.
That's a good shot to take for sure. I'm going to go with number 1, Cadillac, as my top choice. And then my second choice is going to be the number 7, which is Foxtails. And then I'm going to close it out with number 12, Perotto. Right, here we go. Hopefully I got that one right. And that's how I'm ranking them for race number 6 at the Ascot, Royal Ascot, day 1. All right, Thomas, one last race number 7. And race number 7, hold on one second, is 1 mile and 3/4 on the turf. Let me mark the time right now, 39:40. And then let me pull up this sheet. So this is usually what Terry does, marking the times. So it makes it a little bit more multitasking, if you will. 1 mile and 3/4 long race here, Thomas. So 1 mile and 3/4. Looks like they're going to start here and go around 1 full time. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. So a lot of going up, downhill, sideways.
Over and through the woods, yes.
turns and all sorts of interesting.
Not quite as bad as a 2-mile race, but over 2-mile race. But yeah, same idea.
Still keep you busy for sure, from beginning to end. And looking at the pace set up here for the final race of the day, Tom, it looks to me like you have some horses that want to be up in the front that can win on the lead. Again, I think that's a small enough number that it's possible that one of them can take them, at least be close to the front from beginning to end. And then most of the others want to either pressure be in the mid pack and back. So I'm going to give maybe a little bit of more thought towards a horse that can get to a front in one of these type races than otherwise, because just the lack of numbers there. Let's talk about the ones you think are going to get there.
I started with number 4. Otaka Sushi, and has the draw 14. 3-race career, won a maiden, ran second in a class 3 race, and then last out in a listed race ran second again on a course listed as good to yielding. That was the first start of the season. In that race, he raced towards the back of the field and picked it up when asked to, about 3 furlongs left to go. But the comment was he was no match for the winner, and I watched the replay, and I would agree. I'm going to take my chances with a very lightly raced 4-year-old. This is Joseph O'Brien's horse, and I think he needed the last run, and I think you'll get a bit of a price on this one.
What number is that?
Number 4.
Number 4. All right, here we go. Oh, okay. So that's the one you're going to. I thought you were going to go with the next one. All right. I was skipping ahead of horse race.
6.
Second pick.
Actually, you don't have to go so far. 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's Pinta.
Mm-hmm.
Draw 2. She ran 3 listed races this season and ran 7th, 5th, and 2nd. And I like her chances. I think she's improving. She was in her last race. She was in touch with the leaders, went up to 2nd, and just couldn't get to the winner. That's the best way to describe it. She's dropping a little bit from listed races into a class 2. So I think she's going to be there right at the end and should show up nicely. And my final choice is going to be number 16. Bandinelli has draw 17. The best way to describe his last race was awful in the class 2 at Haydock. He went up with the leaders and then backed up, and then But they did that check to come after the race because the stewards required that, and they found nothing wrong with him. He's much better on the all-weather. He's got 6 starts and 3 wins, and he's also placed twice. But he's also done fairly well on the turf. He's got 4 starts and 2 wins. So whatever went wrong in the last race, I'm going to toss it out. Maybe it was because it was 2 miles. Maybe it was because I don't know. Maybe, but he's won on the turf before. He can do it again. William Buick is riding this horse. This is a Godolphin horse, and he is winning right now at a 24% clip. And Godolphin, and then of course he rides only for Godolphin, so that's a pretty good number. So I got to put him in there.
And then for me in this final race, I'm going to go with number 4, just like you, to get it started. Akita Soushi. I'm going to go with the American named horse, Cleveland, with Ryan Moore and Mr. O'Brien. Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid horse to me. And then I'm going to go with, on the way home, number 3, Stowell. This is one of the horses I think the Stowell, looking at the pace setup, is one that I feel like is just going to have a chance to sit. It's one of those horses that can either pressure for the lead and win or close and lead. I think with the way this race sets up, if it goes too slow, Stowell can get towards the front and take it. And if it goes too fast, has the ability to close. So one of the few horses in the field that I don't think is locked into one racing style, and that is Stowell.
Yeah, well, the concern with that horse is, as well as my top choice, the 4, like yours, is its draw is 14, and that first turn gets right up onto you. at Royal Ascot, I never count out Frankie Dettori in any race. Doesn't matter whether he's on a nag or a terrific horse, because he wins. He knows how to win here. And sometimes you can catch him at a price.
Well, one thing for sure is you should catch some prices at the Royal Ascot. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit on the heavier on the favorite side, but sometimes a good horses, it can work out that way too. So we'll find out how it goes tomorrow. Again, Tom and I will be back hopefully at 2:00 every day Eastern time, at 3:00 Eastern time, 2:00 Central. Yeah, I'm on the Brisnet time again, Tom.
Yeah.
But, Terry and I,
you're gonna have to get you a new clock.
Something, a new brain. Terry and I will be back tomorrow. We were going to do Horseshoe Indianapolis tomorrow at 12:00 Eastern, but unfortunately, it's supposed to be blazing hot in the Midwest. I know here in Chicago, the weather forecast is for like 95 degrees, heat index well into the hundreds. A lot of people don't like that. I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to it because I love the heat. I'm going to take my dog over to the beach a little bit later on the afternoon tomorrow, let her get out, run around on Lake Michigan. I'll probably join her in there. But that won't be until after Tom and I are done with Royal Ascot. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, I won't be there. Sean will be there with Chris, our friend Chris Parmalu, to host the Horse Center show. Tonight's guest is going to be hold on a second, let me pull it back up here because I don't remember off the top of my head. It's going to be jockey Kevin Ratke. You can make sure that you watch that show tonight at 8:00 by hitting the like button on Facebook and on YouTube, or follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Horse Race, the number 2day. And then while you're on YouTube, hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. You'll catch everything that we do, including Tom and I back again tomorrow for race day number 2 at Royal Ascot. Terry and I tomorrow, we're going to do Mountaineer. We're going to do an evening track just in case the heat wave finds its way out west. We know that it'll be cooled off by then when the sun goes down, and we won't have to fight with scratches for sure right before we're about to go live.
Well, no, it'll rain or something.
Yeah, well, maybe, whatever. There'll be something.
Mountaineer.
Yeah, they run no matter what over there. Any final thoughts about playing at Ascot? As you mentioned, it should be on every major provider for horse racing betting, so I don't think you'll have a problem finding it.
The channels, you should be able to get it on anybody, or you can watch it online if you want to watch the races, which is well worth it. If you want some of the pomp, you have to. NBC in the past has run it, and I think it may be on USA Network, but you'll have to check and see.
Let me just look that up right now.
The ITV coverage is usually what they run.
NBC Sports tomorrow, it looks like it's going to be on, Tom.
Right.
June 3rd, it looks like it's going to be on some, will be live on, so the pre-race stuff will be available live on Peacock. And then the final day of racing will be on NBCsports.com. So you have to have Peacock. It's one of those streaming app services. I think we have it. But all right, that wraps up day 1 at Royal Ascot, which is actually running tomorrow. Again, Tom and I'll be back for race 2. As he mentioned, keep an eye on how they run tomorrow, how they divide up in the field and who wins from where, because that'll give you a sense of what it'll be like going forward, because the weather's really not supposed to change a whole lot between here and Friday.
And Saturday, man.
Saturday.
And also the gate for these races and the straightaway is in the center. So that'll also play a role of how they track and where the track is running best. So earlier at Ascot, then some of the races, it was on the stand side was the best running. So I'm going to be very curious to see what it looks like tomorrow.
Right. That wraps it up. Day 1, Tom. Any final thoughts before we go?
Survive. Have some money get some money so you can keep playing.
Mm-hmm. Survive in advance, no matter where you're playing. So whether you're playing at Parks, you're going to play tomorrow night at Mountaineer, during the day tomorrow at Ascot, and just your day in general, Tom. We always hope that it ends up in the
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic Monday, Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow with day 2 at Royal Ascot.